Hi, what up, guys? We are once again for another podcast. My name is Rob Ronaldo,
Tom.
and today we have a few questions on Tom Instagram account, and the main topic today is also going to be about either are you going to compete this year, or are you going to take the rest of the year just to grow what we call the off season, because there's been a few shows announced, but it's still no signs of reopen the gyms by the government. So it's a tricky one, right?
Yeah, Grow or Cut. We were obviously in contest prep, and then coronavirus hit, and then that screwed everything up. And I think for the majority of people, like they should just, you know, go in, not compete, do an off season, and just attack it for next year. Unless, of course, for the whole of Corona period, you've had time to, um, you know, be at a gym and train how you would normally. Because I think the whole point of competing is you should be at your best. And if you can't if you've got access to a fucking broomstick and some pillows, you know, you're not going to be at your best. What do you think?
That's right. Yeah, it's a tricky one because I know fair people they had access. I don't want to say to a gym, but they had access to a decent equipment to train and even show some signs of progress. But also, there's a lot of people who hasn't. And even if the gyms are open in the middle of July or August, as I predicted, is it enough time to get ready for the shows at the end of the year and to be 100% on stage like everyone desired? Is a tricky one. So uh,
Are there any shows in September, or are they all like October, November now?
uh, I have two clients. We just started the prep on this week for a show in October and another show in November, and I know these two shows are definitely going ahead. Uh, the federation that I'm involved with, the CIBB, based in Italy, they just officially announced today with the Universe, the international show is going ahead on the 11th and 12th of December. So it's my job to create a team of competitors and travel with me to Turin in Italy and compete there. But once again, it's also a very tricky one because we don't know who's going to be in shape, who's been training hard, who hasn't. So, and
And
we don't
also,
even know.
it depends on like muscle memory as well. Like, because if you haven't had access to the gym, you got to kind of regrow what you've lost. So whoever's got the best muscle memory, they'll be good for it, and then diet down. Um, so yeah, I guess
Yeah,
there you
what I'm
go.
saying is the fact that even if the gyms open, let's see in August, is these people going to be 100% in the shows they're aiming for, the shows that have been announced? And for what I'm seeing on the social media, there is a few people that have started their preps somehow, and for the shows that there's quite. I think the two bros are still going ahead with their shows. Not
Yeah.
sure about the September one. So I've seen these people being posting 10 weeks out, 11 weeks out for the last couple of weeks. So I've seen that there is people in the pre-contest, there is people prepping. Are they doing the right thing or not? I don't know. It comes to individual interpretation. As I said, if you have access to a decent equipment or even to a gym somehow, why not? If you didn't have, it's a tricky one. Shall you just back it up and try to progress into a good off season for the rest of the year when the gyms reopen, or just try to compete for the rest of the year? Is that's the question mark right there.
So as a coach, how are you prepping your competitors now? Then, are you
Uh, yeah. So
dieting
basically,
them or?
yes, the athletes that contacted me with recently about competing in the shows in October and November. Actually, what I did, there is not much of a time to go easy on the diet and stuff like that. So I went straight to a low calorie diet. And so when I normally start hard on a high calorie and gradually decrease the calorie, towards the show, and it obviously depend how they're looking week after week. I'll usually start on a very not so very low carb because I'm not really a big fan of that, but I start in the lower calories that I normally give it to them because I think they have plenty of time to consume a lot of calories during the lockdown. With the, what I mean. So we started quite full on, so there was no easy, and that's my approach to my clients, the ones who want to compete, obviously.
So will you? Because obviously with us, you were gonna, go hard and then up the
Yeah.
calories close to the show. Will you do that with them, or do you think they don't have time and it's just like low calories all till show day?
Yeah, the thing, like, I think they do have time to get ready to be in shape, but I just think they not look as they supposed to look because we all know the reason why, isn't it? We do,
Yeah,
we had a plan uh, to hit a good off season, then to diet down to compete, but that plan it was obviously interrupted by the coronavirus. So we didn't have a plan. So I thought to myself, okay, let's work with what you guys got, and let's go this way. You guys had plenty of time to mess around, eat whatever you want, and all that. But now it's that's it. The party is over. Let's go like balls out and full on a diet, low calories that I normally give it to them, but it still got plenty of food. It still got plenty of calories to keep your energy levels high. But I start with lower calories to all my clients, that the ones who desire to compete. You know.
so I think it'll
And
be like two. I guess it'll be two types of people. The people that didn't have the equipment but still want to compete, and then and then the people that
yeah.
have got their huge home gym setups and are looking pretty incredible.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, it will be interesting. It will be interesting because we all know what you did during this time. It will project the way you look on stage, right? So
Yeah,
you've been
I mean, I
training,
hope
and
everyone kind of looks around the same, but I have a feeling all this will just give like two or three people like massive standing out moment because obviously they would have had access to the gym versus everyone else.
yeah, yeah, true. So it's if people wants to compete and step on stage, it's their goal. I think some people they just love to compete, and it's their way of keeping themselves motivated in the industry somehow into their training. Is the only thing that keeps them on the track, is in terms of dieting and discipline. So
That's a good point. Yeah.
that's a good point, isn't it? So we'll see how it goes. I'm really looking forward to see how it's going to be, how it's going to turn out to be, and all that. And it's my job now, obviously, to select a team to take with me to in December to Italy. So it's going to be also a tricky one because even the Italians, they asked me today if I would suggest about putting on a pro class into the show, because they don't think there's a lot of pros actually training at the moment as hard to compete. So I'd say, listen, uh, because the show is only in December, who knows, the things might change. So why not just put on the pro class? You might bring some big guys into the stage. So you don't know. It could be. I think this could be. It could go one way or the other. It could be very shit or it could be very good. We'll
Well,
see.
I mean, the Mr. Olympia, that's still going ahead, isn't it? I think,
It's
isn't
still
it?
going ahead. Yeah, it's
December.
going ahead. It's also in December. Yeah, it's still going ahead, and they're making the big thing out of it, which is very good for the. No, I
Is
think
Sean
the.
Rhoden competing, or do we not know yet?
Well, I heard him since I heard some things here and there, but I don't know much about it. I hope he does. I hope he does compete because I don't think the standard last year was that it was great at the Olympia. So I hope he
Yeah, I
brings
mean,
something.
I'd prefer Sean Rhoden to win over Brandon Curry in terms of physiques. Like
Yeah,
Sean
yeah,
Rhoden, looks incredible.
yeah,
Brandon, just looks like he literally looks like an inflated balloon. Like there's no separation. His
yeah,
legs are terrible. His back is awful, but his front
yeah,
shots are good.
yeah. He's impressive bodybuilder. Is it the Olympia standards? Uh, Maybe if there's another guys who will be there, like Phil Heath and Sean Roden, some of the guys will be there standing next to him. I don't think you'd probably
I'd love
win.
Phil
But
to come back. If Phil came back,
yeah,
that would,
but we
take my
can. But
money. I'm
yeah,
flying there.
Yeah, but that's just the point. That's just what we think. We don't really know exactly, and so we can't just say, "Oh, you know." So we need to see them next to each other and to see if he actually he was the deserved winner last year. So I hope all these guys are coming back this year, so there will be a more interesting Olympia because definitely last year it was a big step back
Yeah,
in the Olympic standards. So let's bring something more interesting to the sport.
yeah, for sure. Should we get into questions?
Let's go.
Um, all right. First question. Okay, what are your thoughts on caffeine and working out?
I drink one coffee a day. It's my personal uh, like what I do. Funny you just mentioned the caffeine because I just read in the news there was actually a guy who died for consuming too much caffeine the other week in Peterborough.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, he was all over the news, and he just popped again because I think they made it autopsy to the body, and they determined how much caffeine he was actually inside his body, and it's just a number. It was something ridiculous. I
Wow.
when they found the body, they saw a large number of cans of energy drinks with the body because obviously he consumed way too many energy drinks that contain high caffeine, and that's the reason why he had a heart attack and he died in the end. Yeah, it's just funny you mentioned that because there's one thing I've never heard before was about someone who actually died from consuming too much caffeine. Uh,
Yeah.
I've never heard of that. It's the first time. It's just like, oh, this guy had the monster drink and he died. So come on, dude. That's
So,
extreme. But yeah, this guy obviously apparently consumed like whatever energy drinks they didn't mention in the newspaper, but he consumed a lot of drinks that contain highly caffeine in there. So uh, I think caffeine is good. If for me, caffeine is just good for two things, uh, for energy and fat burning.
hmm,
That's it. If you wanna have some energy, fat burning, it's important. It's important. It's not main because like just give an example, but the fat burners, the new ones I've just released, they're caffeine free and they work very well. You know what I mean? So it's not the main ingredient to burn fat or to give you energy, but it's a very strong one. So
yeah.
and it's a
Um,
very important. It depends on the culture as well. You know, there's a lot of culture. For example, my culture, the Portuguese culture, we drink a lot of coffee, a lot of coffee,
but you only
and
have one cup of coffee. That's
that's
it.
that's me. But I know for a fact my culture. That's why the coffees are so popular in my country. But in my culture, we drink a lot of coffee, and people drink like 10, 15 coffees every day. You know,
Whoa.
I know
Wow.
it's little espressos. They drink loads, man. They drink
Wow.
espresso like every hour. It's ridiculous. I think Portuguese and Italians and Spanish they consume a lot of coffee. You know.
I mean, for me, I think, yeah, caffeine when I'm dieting, that's the best because it kind of blunts your appetite and, you know, makes up for the fact that you're not really on a lot of calories. But off
Hmm.
season, I mean, obviously I have some pre-workouts and stuff, but to be honest, I don't really notice a difference. It's more of a placebo effect, I think, for me. Like
Yeah,
I need to take something in order for my head to feel better.
yeah.
But I
I
don't
guess
notice the energy.
you don't.
Not in off
Yeah,
season.
I've noticed in off season. Okay, yeah, okay. I guess when you're pre-contest, your body's more vulnerable, and
Yeah.
you feel most. Yeah, I drink one coffee a day. That's my caffeine intake. Don't ask me how many milligrams is in there because I ain't got a clue. Uh, but it does help me to. It's like a kickstart of the day, and when I'm at work, when I'm off work, I drink a protein shake before my workout, and I put 2 scoops of coffee into my protein shake, and I drink all at once, and the day I forget to mix the coffee in the shake, I get paranoid, you know. I get like I feel like, oh, this today is gonna be shit. I'm not gonna have a decent workout. And it's probably not. It's just my mind tells me that weird stuff, but it's just psychologically. every time I drink a coffee, I brainwash myself that I'm gonna have loads of energy for the next,
Same here. I feel like I'll tell myself I'm basically Superman.
that's it, that's it, but
Oh.
yeah, as we know, is also a very important ingredient for people who wants to burn fat. If you mix those two three ingredients that contains in the fat burner, which is caffeine, L-carnitine, what else is what's the one? Aspirin? Is it
Aspirin.
aspirin? Aspirin?
Yeah.
Yeah, aspirin.
Or usually
Aspirin.
ephedrine.
Yeah, ephedrine, aspirin, and those three, they're just creating a fat burning bomb. And
Yeah.
and they some of the products that contain those three, they have been removed from the market, because I remember back in the days they used to contain products, it's just contain those three, and there was like EPH. I don't know if you remember EPH. It was around a few
Yeah,
years ago.
yeah.
Oh my days, man, that was just ridiculous. You pop two EPH into your body and you train legs for like 4 hours, like non-stop. There was
But
something out of
I
control.
think the ephedrine as well, and the high. I mean, the caffeine I think was like 300 milligrams a tablet, which is insane. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I remember to pop two pills in before they were banned from the market. I used to take always on my leg workout, and that would be my best workouts I ever been in my whole life. But
so there we
that's it.
go. Caffeine boosts strength and helps you lose fat. So
Yeah, yeah,
happy days.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, I
Um,
believe so.
right, controversial one here because loads of people pipe up about this. Um, what differences do you think do you think between female bodybuilding and women bodybuilding, i.e., how should you train them differently? Should you do different diets? Should you treat women
Yeah,
differently when you train them to gain muscle? What are your thoughts?
no, it's the same thing. Same
I
thing.
like that. Same thing.
Dieting is slightly different because they consume less quantity of food than males. In terms of training, man, they just the same thing, same exercises. I know some female bodybuilder, they avoid to train chest at some point, but but I don't agree with that. I think and all the female bodybuilders that I've known, they train like men's or even harder, and they eat the same type of foods. Obviously, less calorie food, but it's just almost the same as we do. There's not much of a difference. Even like not even just female bodybuilding. If you have a client that competes, for example, in figure, do you get it to train differently than a male bodybuilder, or do you do different things with them, or you train pretty much the same kind of training style with the compound exercises and stuff like that? How do you do?
I, I think a lot of women like have. I blame Instagram, with these stupid fucking exercises where they're like bent over doing some weird kickback fly thing.
Yeah,
They're doing this fluffy shit that doesn't work, and it only works for like maybe the really top 10% genetically gifted people. But
yeah,
you get them on some compound movements, heavy squats, heavy deadlifts, whatever, and they can grow just as well as men. I mean, it's probably a slightly slower. It is a slower muscle growth because the lack of testosterone and higher estrogen. But the amount of women that have come to me that have done like, I'm gonna do, they come to me doing like 20 reps sets of like supersets and triceps, and then we get them doing one exercise 8 to 10 reps, and they're like, oh wow, I can actually grow some muscle. Like,
yeah, yeah. I noticed. Well, I train my clients the same way. I made it train like heavy and hard, and even the girls who compete like tone figure and stuff like that. I still make him lift heavy weights. People follow my Instagram account, they can see that, and the successful some of the girls and the transformation they made in their physiques was because of that. I made him train like men's, pretty much.
yeah,
Uh,
I mean,
uh,
women are at a disadvantage for putting on muscle. So why would you, training wise, put them at like an even harder process? Like, if you did 30 reps of lightweight, you're not going to build muscle. So
no,
like,
no,
it's the same for
no. You see
females.
when they do like when they combine cardio with weights. Have you seen that?
Oh,
They do like a very
bare
light
master with
set
some
of
ankle
cardio.
weights.
Yeah, then they do like box jumps and they go on the floor. They do like what's the name of that? shit. That is the worst shit I ever seen. That body weight exercise. What's the name of that? The worst body weight exercise. Uh, no, it's not jumping jacks. What's the other one?
Well,
I
like
don't remember.
burpees.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
Burpees. This is probably the person who invented that exercise. It should be banned, like from living. You know, it's just they do like burpees supersetting with something, then jump on a box or box jumps and then superset with leg press. I don't know. This they mixed up some messed up shit. It's just like mixing like fish and meat in the same plate. It makes no sense to me. Or you do resistance training or you do your cardio. If you do some body weight exercise, choose one day just to do body weight exercise. Don't mix weight resistance training,
Yeah.
body weight, and cardio. What a mess. And I've seen a lot of people doing that in the gym as well
But
as
I think what really pisses me off is when you get those female trainers encouraging this style of training. You know, like, oh, let's do 5 exercises back to back with no weight, and you're going to have an amazing ass. Like, no.
But what I mean, you can't if there's no resistance in there to break down the muscle fibers in terms to stimulate the muscle fibers recover and grow. Are you even going to mold your body? Are you going to tone up your body? It's not rocket science, is it? We live like it's the 21st century now. If you still believe that shit is going to turn up your body, it definitely something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
We all know that. Come on, like is internet. The internet is available to everyone. If you still believe that, there's something definitely is not right. Something gone wrong. Body weight is good for like mobility, joint function. Uh, uh, you know, waste some energy and stuff like that. That's all it is. It's not gonna tone. It's not gonna build. It's not gonna do shit. So yeah, I
Totally
think
agree.
people need to have be more realistic with that with themselves. If you really want to have a decent butt, a toned legs, firm and toned legs, you got to use resistance. You got to lift weights.
I will say one thing I have noticed through training women is they can handle a lot more volume than men. Like, you know, I think you've trained with a couple of women as well, and like volume wise, they can.
I've trained with a lot of men. They go on forever. They never get tired.
Yeah. You know, I'm like dying, and they're like, "Yeah, no, I'm good to go."
They never get tired. Never. Yeah. I'm trying to catch my breath, and they're already ready for another set.
Yeah.
And that's why it increases my intensity of training, and it makes me a better bodybuilder and train harder. I had some of the hardest workouts I did was actually with women because they were just always ready to go on. The intensity was so high, I'll finish completely trashed.
Yeah.
Sometimes when they ask me, well, could I train with you today? I say, oh, I'm not. I will try to like, invent some stories, so I don't want to hook up with this chick to train with me because I know she was going to destroy me. You know, with the intensity, just because of the intensity they're training, they have energy forever. But that's women. They're very driven as well.
But that's the thing as well. Like I think a lot of women underestimate how much weight they can actually do in exercises, and it like limits them. You know, like I've got women, you know, they're squatting 160 kilos upwards, you know, deadlifting crazy numbers. And I think for a lot of women, because they see them doing like 60 kilo squats or whatever, and some stupid pulses, they think, oh yeah, no, that'll do. Like you're in like a little box, and you don't understand that there's this
You
big
don't.
old equation
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, I was training one of my best athletes. Weakness part was the lower body. Very nice shaped legs, but not a lot of muscle in there. And we started gradually increasing the squat and the heavy leg presses and stuff like that. And by towards the end of the year, it became one of the best body parts. And when she developed that body part, the legs, she started winning shows. Before that, she wasn't winning anything, because it was always the lagging body part, because it's really difficult to just to ignore. If you don't have, especially when you're a female, if you don't have a firm butt, a decent quads, and some kind of shape or in your hammies, and the nice sweep, don't really do well. Have
Yeah,
you ever seen a bikini girl doing well, stepping on stage with very skinny legs? No,
that's true.
they need some kind of muscles, kind of shape in those legs, and that only is achievable by lifting weights, heavy weights.
Yeah.
You know, so there's no rocket science there. So I think people should, especially female, need to considering if they really want to look in great shape and like everyone's and now it's all about their asses in it. It's like asses everywhere. You go on Instagram and is a if it is an ass in every other Instagram account pops an ass out, So it becomes like an ass modeling show. So if you continue to be part of that show, just think about it the way you train. And weights is definitely the way for it.
Right, next question. Basically, how would you approach training around a woman's period? Does it affect performance? Should you not go into muscle failure? Should you do higher reps? What are your thoughts as the many years of training women?
Yeah, I'll keep it simple. Keep it simple. Short sessions, basic compounds. Uh, no, I don't go to failure at all. Keep it simple. Try go for like go through the emotions how the person feels that day. This plays a little bit as well. I know there's actually quite a few female that they don't train as much when they have the period. I've noticed that they don't let they because it's hard on them.
Mm.
We don't experience that because we are men, but we witness how they suffer when they go through that period. And yeah, I see how you feeling today. You feeling good or like okay? Sometimes they may say feeling good, but halfway through the workout they start feeling shit, like ourselves. Some days we're thinking today is going to be a hardcore workout and we don't have energy. Sometimes we think we are feeling very tired, and we end up having the greatest workout in our lives. So women, I always go through the emotions during the workout. If they're capable of doing more, I'll give them more. If they are not, I just stick to what they can do during the workout. We just work as a team, and go through the emotions during the workout. What about you? How do you do? How do you approach that?
Well, you can get really complicated with this. Like, there's some coaches that will they'll change the diet and stuff for optimal performance, during period time and stuff like that. But yeah, I think what you said is right. Just do it a bit more instinctively. What I find interesting is usually for each woman varies, but like a couple of days before the period, that's actually like their strongest point. They're able to lift way more than any other part of their cycle. So
Okay.
that's always an interesting bit. But yeah, you're right. Like, you know, not go to failure. See
To be
how you
fair,
do.
I'll probably train a lot of girls. They were doing their prayer, but they never even told me, so I
Yeah,
don't even know.
exactly.
You
And
know.
obviously, contest prep time period goes away, so you're all good.
True, true, absolutely, yeah. That's another thing, yeah. Sometimes they mention that, but if it's a client, well, all my clients, I try to work with them when my clients very personal approach, so they can all share with me anything that goes through there, because like I said, we work as a coach and not like just a personal trainer. Personal
Yeah,
trainer is someone that's in the gym. You pay that person to take you through a training session. It's a different. But when you work in the coaching side of it, there's more is more depth into it, than just taking to the gym. There's other aspects uh, to in the coaching process, So yeah,
yeah, totally
that's
agree. Broadly speaking as well, obviously just upping iron, getting more iron-rich foods, red meat,
mm,
spinach, during that time obviously helps with the
yeah,
fatigue because some women really, really suffer like heavy fatigue with that. But yeah,
yeah.
I think just be a bit more instinctive. Don't stop training if you can't. Um, if you can even. That was special. Continue
But
training, but just dial it back.
women are like you say it's like they complain they're going through a lot of pain, and we turn around. Okay, just take a day off, 1 or 2 day off, and they go, no, but I can do it. They'll seriously, you must have experienced that.
Yeah, yeah.
We advise to take some time off, and but they'll never do that. They'll be back in the gym next day, empowered for the pain and stuff like that. But that's women. They're very some of the women. They're very driven. You know,
Yeah.
if it was me and you having a period pain, we go like, "Oh, I'm sick. I'm not." You
I
know what
just eat
human
some
beings are
cakes and
for?
just sit
Yeah,
about.
and watch Titanic for the sixth time and cry when Leonardo DiCaprio die. You
Yeah, I would comfort eat big time.
know.
Right. Well, I mean, that's the end of our questions. Have you got any others, or are you...
uh, let's see what I've got here. Uh, I've got a question about the you mentioned before about the carb cycling. If you what your thoughts about carb cycling? Does it work? Is it very important, or what's your thoughts about that?
Um, well, this is an interesting one because before you and me hooked up, I always did carb cycling, and you don't really do carb cycling. So I'm going to say carb cycling I like a lot for fat loss. You know, you can do some interesting stuff like a high, medium, and low day. Um, but yeah, I think off season as well. I mean, having a rest day where I have low carbs or lower than usual just to help digestion. You know, have one day where you're not cramming in all the food. I think is always good. I mean, I think carb cycling is brilliant. But yeah, what's your thoughts? I mean, you.
Yeah, well, I've used carb cycling. You know what? My thoughts are, I use carb cycling more in beginners than an advanced athletes. And one of the things I started using carb cycling is probably I'd say about uh, 4 years ago is because I wanted to witness um, how my clients would feel and doing the process. And it was very interesting because I registered the experience about carb cycling, and it was everyone has such a different opinions about carb cycling, and it worked because all my athletes were carb cycling at the time because I think I had seven athletes competing exactly at the same show, and they're all doing carb cycling. They all have totally different opinions, and that was very good for me because I experienced um, the benefits and the pros and cons of carb cycling. And Lotus, open the door. So my kid to open the door for the cat. And I noticed that, and I do remember as one of the guys. He told me like I asked him like how you get on with carb cycling, and he was like, you know what, like when I'm on a low day on a low carb day, uh, in the afternoon onwards, I'm like extremely exhausted.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I was it was so low. And the only thing that keeps me going like driven is that I knew the very next day I'll have a full day of carbs, and after I had the next day a full day of carbs, I'll be back. I'll be training like crazy that day, and I'll be going to and that will last me for another day or two. My energy levels will be so high until the levels start dropping again, and it'll be a continuous cycling. And yeah, it was very good to see. And some people on the low carb day, they wouldn't even feel they were in the low carbs. They would even like, I was talking to them, so how you feel on your low carb day? I'm fine. I still got energy. I'm fitter. I'm more focused. Some people they'll almost die in a low carb day. Some people they will feeling better.
yeah. I
So I
mean,
don't think the
low
cycle.
carb day for me. I just want to kill myself. That's it. I'm not
Yeah,
loving life.
yeah.
So why
So
did you only use why don't you use it for advanced guys then?
because the advanced guys they have so much experience of dieting over the years and competing over the years, it's so much easier to give them like a clean diet with the moderate carbs, and
Mm,
that's just like listen. It's just like if you don't burn enough fat, just do a bit more. Just up your cardio and up your protein, drop your carbs. It's so much easier to manipulate their diet that way. Just
yeah,
according, the most advanced guys, we need to keep eye on them 24/7. You know what I mean? So it's so much easier with them because they know if something goes wrong, they'll contact me. Then you know when to manipulate the carbs somehow. So we don't need to give you the structure like medium, low, medium, high. You know what I mean? There's no need to be that structure. You set him up a diet. This is your 6 meal plan. Follow it through. You know, okay, increase your cardio, decrease your cardio, increase your carbs, decrease your carbs. You know what I mean? Increase your fats, decrease your carbs. It's just so much easier than just structure a carb cycling. And sometimes what I now tend to do, I do 2 meal plans, meal plan one, meal plan two. And what they do, they spend 2 days on meal plan one and 1 day in meal plan two.
Ah,
Normally, the meal plan one contains less carbs, and the meal plan two contains a lot more carbs. And that's my carb cycle. It works very well as well to some of my clients.
I
But
mean, also,
yeah, there's
as
many
well-
ways of skin the cat. Anyway,
yeah,
you're all gonna get in shape in the end of the day anyway.
I was about to say it also really depends on the training program
Yeah.
because
Oh, true. True.
what if you're doing a lot of high volume,
Yeah.
there's no way you can do like a low carb day because you're is that's it, it's game over. Whereas if you just got consistent carbs, your performance in the gym's better. So
Do you know what? I've trained with guys that I was doing my own diet plan for. I had friends where we were dieting the same time. We even competing almost in the same shows and stuff like that. And these guys, they were in the carb cycling. And I remember to be training legs with some of these guys. And after the leg workout, they'll go eating like a chicken breast and salad. And I was like, "Where's your carb?" "Oh, this today is my low carb." It's like, well, I said you should have said that before the workout. You know what I mean? You know, you could have trained something else in their legs another day. You could train legs on your hard carb day. You know, it's, oh no, it's fine, it's fine. And now then I was thinking, is this really productive? Like, is this guy wasted the full leg workout because he was on a low carb diet? And because even when you in pre-contest, it's important to have carbs. You know what I mean? It's just like, we all know how important it is to have a decent leg workout and when you pre-contest, because if your workout's the shit, your legs start getting flatter and
yeah,
smaller. And
yeah.
and imagine you train legs for about an hour and a half, then you go on and eat it like a chicken breast and a bunch of salad. I mean, come on, really?
I
Imagine.
definitely do prefer having my carbs just constant, and then just having a one rest day where it's a bit low carb, lower calorie.
Yeah.
But I think
No, I don't like. I'll give you shit loads of cars doing your pre-contest. If I see you falling behind your prep, what I do, I just increase your cardio. Simple as that. Just increase your cardio, do more cardio. And I see you keep falling behind your prep. I just remove a carb meal off your dieting. Instead of you having 5 carb meals, you have 4, and that makes a
yeah,
lot of difference. That
yeah.
makes a
Because
huge.
bottom line, if your performance in the gym is shit, then your physique is going to suffer.
I
As I
remember when I
learned.
was. Yeah, I remember when I was working with a nutritionist at the beginning of my career. He kept me on a very high carb diet when falling to the shows, and I remember. I think I can't remember pretty much how much carbs I was having, but I was quite heavy carbs. And I remember when he did the tweak on my diet, I think he dropped 50 grams of carbs per meal, and that drop, honestly, it was a killer. I thought I was gonna grab a gun and shoot someone or shoot myself. I was so mad and so moody all day because all he did was dropping 50 grams of carbs. But but that made a huge difference on my physique. Just dropping that small amount of carbs per meal. You know,
Yeah. No, I agree. So bottom line, carb cycling could be good for you, could not. It depends on the person.
depends on the person. We all know you eat clean, do your cardio, you train hard, you will get in shape no matter what.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, we'll get in shape.
I think a lot of people just overcomplicate a lot of things.
Oh man, there's so much stuff going on nowadays, man. It's
And
just
Instagram's the worst for it. Like
oh man.
you're getting these skinny guys like testing their blood sugar levels when, they just need to fucking eat.
And you mentioned the other day about these elite trainers that I've never heard of these guys, man.
Yeah.
Some of the names you mentioned, like, who are they? I mean, I only know a few people that I know that helped me in the past. And when I came to England about 16 years ago, they were like the people I know that still helping people out, and they know what they know what they're doing. all these new guys on the block. I never heard of them.
I
I don't know
know,
who they are.
I
I
know.
don't know who they are. I never heard of these guys.
And the worst
Um,
thing is their physiques aren't even like impressive, and you know
yeah.
you're paying silly money for these people to just tell you, you know.
Do you know what's the guy you had once powerhouse up north? Ian, I forgot his name now. Ian Chambers. He posted on his Instagram or in his Facebook a meal plan done by a guy who won the Nobel Britain. I think he won 5 or 6 times in a row, and it
Oh
was a
wow.
piece of paper this big with 6 meals that he wrote down. To Ian Chambers wrote down in handwriting, wrote it to this guy. Never even made like one single change in the meal plan. He wrote 6 meals a piece of paper, gave to this guy. This guy was like, I'd say 5 or 6 times Nobel Britain champion. Like, what was the science on that? No science.
Well, it's the
You
same
know.
with Chris Aceto. I mean, Chris Aceto is arguably the best, one of the best coaches out there, and you know he doesn't he you know he just does basic stuff, and it's the eye. You know, I think you've either got an eye for bodybuilding and like changing stuff, or you don't. And the people that
Yeah.
don't, you know, go the whole science route. There's nothing wrong with
Well,
science, but like, yeah, like the simplicity gets lost.
yeah, don't overcomplicate the things, man. It's so, it's this is not really, you know. I think you know what. Do you know one thing, right? I've noticed every time I see a new coach or new personal trainer, what they come on the industry saying, "I'm going to bring something new." That's all they say. I'm gonna bring something new. What something new? I don't understand. Like, you're not inventing the wheel anymore. It's been invented before. It's just follow your own principles, follow your own protocols, whatever. But don't bring something complicated. You're complicating the hell out of a lot of people, and these people fall for it because you know if you give something basic, they'll think like, oh, but this is too basic. I want something
Yeah,
more complicated.
yeah.
You know, it's it's just I
The,
think the industry become like very boring to a lot of people, you know.
Totally. I mean, everyone's just coming up with some you know, new method, and oh yeah,
And
you haven't got muscle gains because you're not taking like 10 magnesium a day or some bullshit like that. You know.
and all these new coaches, these young people, young coaches, they've competed in a couple of shows. They're coaching people. It's just you know I'm from a different era, man. I started coaching people when I was already out. I was already 11 years into the sport of competing. I already competed like in 100 shows before I even start thinking. Okay, now I think I've got some sort of knowledge to coach some people. And these kids, they do sometimes they never competed anyway. They just do one show or two, and then over the sun they become an expert in coaching people and prepping people. I don't. Some of these guys they didn't even place. They don't have the physique. They don't even like for example, you're a strong guy. You do some really impressive lifts, so you definitely must be doing something right. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to lift that much, right? You wouldn't be
Yeah.
able to you wouldn't be able to do those impressive lifts if you don't if you weren't doing something right. So these guys they have nothing to show, and they try to teach other people what you know how
It's
to achieve
just,
their goals.
yeah. I mean, that's what I said. Like, I think the best coaches are the ones that have done this, you know, like you, that, you know, 20 years plus or whatever, and have just lived it and breathed it, and that's their life. Because
Yeah,
you need the experience. Because there's certain, I mean, you know, there's one guy I worked with, and it was amazing. Like, you know, he doesn't know any science or whatever, but you know, he'd give me a diet plan, and what he said would happen happened. And you know, it's, you know, there's something for just experience that definitely kills science.
man. I think the years I've spent in this industry, like over 20 years and 170 shows, sometimes it means nothing because I have been ditched by clients, but for some people that I don't even want to mention because it's just too ridiculous to even talk about it. If I found out another client they ditched me. Well, yes, she didn't ditch me because we weren't together, but she did said when she was back into to compete again, she would contact me. But she's obviously inquired, is prepping, being prepped by someone else, and I got to find out who the person was. I was shocked, literally. I was absolutely shocked. You know, it's just I can't.
But
It's a
the,
thing that
the
you can't win.
the worst thing as well is like, you know, a lot of these coaches are apparently becoming drug experts. And, you know, every plan comes with this long list of drugs that you apparently need to accompany this minimal amount of food. And it's just like, you know, what happened to just good food and really hard training? You know, like that's the problem. That's the missing link. I don't think people train as hard as what they can or should do because they're all worried about needing deloads and all this fucking shit. Like, you know,
Man, I've seen, yeah, I've seen it all. It's just, it's too complicated for me. And
we've never once had a deload.
no, 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 it's just too overcomplicated for me. And so I think it's the era that we live now. It's just like everyone's trying to bring something different. Everyone try to get somewhere, because now that we know that people can actually become something in the fitness industry, when before about 10 years ago, or even less, about 6 or 5 to 6 years ago, none of this was possible. But now it is possible to become somewhere. So everyone wants the piece of the cake. But let me
Yeah.
see, okay, this guy is doing this. I want to make sure I'm going to bring something different than he does, and hopefully it works. And just and people like me and you that have been in the industry. I've been in the industry for 20 years. I just have to stand back and just watch. And I have nothing to say. I don't want to criticize. Okay, if someone asks me my opinion, I'll clearly. I have nothing. I don't hold back. I'll say what I think straight away. But if no one asks me anything, I just watch. You know, there's no more I can do or we can do. It's the industry nowadays. It's
I
full of
remember,
bullshit.
I mean, because often I'm like, oh, what supplements can I get? And I was like, I remember I came to you and it's like, should I take this, and this supplements?
Yeah,
And then you were just like, no, man, just eat the food. You know, like, I'm like, okay, yeah, no, that works.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. You know what? I had that. What was I was prepping? I was prepping Rob Cox. Rob Cox, the guy from Norway, is a big dude. He weighs 300 pounds off season. Big dude. And he asked me for a prep. I actually got him in the best shape he ever been. Shame he only makes sixth place in Upper Britain, but he could have placed a lot better. But he looked the best he ever looked so far. He praises me a lot for helping him out. But I remember like one of the times he came to assess, I came to me to assess him, and he said to me about how he was feeling weak, and with the diet and everything. He said, "Okay, Rob, what do you suggest I could do for this Sunday?" Because normally I have like a cheat meal on Sunday. I said, well, just eat more food. What type of food? Diet food. I was like, oh, nothing different from my diet? No, eat the same diet food, but eat more. And even today, talks about that, because in his mind, if I was going to say, oh, go to McDonald's or go to Burger King and eat as much as you can, but I just, no, just eat more food. So if you're eating chicken and rice, if you eat 250 grams, eat 300, eat more. And yeah, by the end of the day, he showed up in the best shape of his life. And today we spoke about this, and it's funny, like how I completely crushed his dreams doing this prep of eating junk food. And I remember when before in his protocol before he goes on stage was all eating a bunch of like simple sugars. That's all he used to carb up with single sugars. That's all he did. And I made him carb up on same food as he was dieting, which is like oatmeal and rice. And he said to me, so why, we asked me, why we carb up on this? Why we don't eat sugars? Like, did you add sugars on your dieting? No, I didn't. So you're not eating sugars before the stage. Yeah, it's quite funny times. Shall we wrap this up?
Yeah. Let's. Well, that's the end of this episode, and yeah, we're done.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for the people who download our latest podcast. It will be available on the Spotify the next few days. And hope you guys keep watching us, keep listening to us in our podcast in Spotify, in the platforms as well. And see you next time.
Bye.